Self-knowledge and objectives. Knowing oneself means achieving identity with the divine being and recognizing the connection between the known and the cognizant. This is the essence of self-knowledge. It is fundamental to understand who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. However, many people believe they know themselves when they really don't. Self-knowledge demands constant self-observation, which involves seeing ourselves as we truly are, both physically and psychologically. Unfortunately, most people accept that they have a physical body because they can see and touch it. But psychology is something different. Because they can't see or feel it, it often seems vague to them. However, when someone starts to observe themselves, it's a clear sign they intend to change. To know the inner worlds of Earth, the solar system, or the galaxy, we must first know our own inner world and our intimate life. As the ancient adage goes, know yourself, and you will know the universe and the gods. The question is, do we really know our own divine part? Most people do not dedicate time to this introspective work, though it is essential. The path to internal knowledge is the key to true transformation and wisdom. It must be done consciously, as we are all composed of three parts: body, mind, and spirit. Understanding this structure is the first step towards self-knowledge. The duality between body and human essence, the physical body, our human machine, is an integral part of who we are, but it's not the only part. Exploring the duality between matter and essence helps us understand that our true identity goes beyond the tangible. The body is the vehicle through which we interact with the physical world, but our human essence encompasses much more. The duality between the material and the spiritual invites us to reflect on what it truly means to be human. Discover the difference between the body we possess and the essence that defines us. What does this duality between physical body and spirit mean to you? Exploring this question can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. Soul or mind, psychic energy, and the inner world. The mind or soul represents the psychic energy that drives our movements and determines our ways of being. Although we spend a lot of time in our inner world, it's surprising how much we don't know about this energy, as it contains 97% of our essence trapped within. This is where our various personalities and defects originate. To explore the mind, we must be aware of the internal influences that govern our actions and emotions. Despite its importance, the soul or mind often remains in the shadows, leaving us without a complete understanding of our motivations and behaviors. By understanding this aspect, we can begin to unravel the intricate fabric of our being. Spirit or consciousness, the free and eternal essence. The spirit or consciousness represents the 3% of our essence that is free and aware. It is the real, eternal, and immortal part within each of us. This is the component that transcends time and allows us to attain divine wisdom by exploring our inner world. To access this free essence, we must study and understand the 4 pillars of wisdom that serve as guides to penetrate the mysteries of our being. The spirit is the part of us that is not conditioned by time, connecting us with what is true and authentic. Embracing this part of our consciousness can start us on a journey toward inner knowledge and the discovery of the power of our divine essence. The 4 pillars of wisdom science: experimentation and knowledge of the inner world. Science provides us with methods to explore and understand our inner world through direct experimentation in different dimensions of nature. Through conscious science, we learn specific procedures to experience our inner being, focusing on empirical knowledge, not blind faith. The word knowledge implies an active process of knowing, and through practice, we can experience these dimensions in a real and tangible way. We teach various practices for inner knowledge and astral projection, including techniques for concentration, relaxation, and meditation, along with practices for astral projection. We also explore retrospection, karma negotiation, and karma cancellation, among other methods. The saying, "practice makes perfect," highlights the importance of perseverance in achieving success in any area of life. In the context of self-knowledge, this saying is particularly relevant. Regular practice is the key to progressing and ultimately succeeding on the path of self-exploration and spiritual development. So, as you progress on your inner journey, remember that consistency and dedication will lead you to new heights. Practice until you succeed. 2. Art, the creation of the higher self. Art not only refers to the creation of physical works, but also to the creation of ourselves. The practice of suprisex, or superior sexuality, offers a path to building higher existential bodies through sexual union. The sexual center contains the great possibilities of the human being, allowing us to create the higher existential bodies of the being, granting us access to various dimensions of nature. Suprisex is achieved through sexual union between a man and a woman, maintaining sexual creative energy without losing it. This requires the conjuration of Velilin and the creation of a magic circle for spiritual protection. The process also includes asking for assistance from the Inner Father and Divine Mother for guidance during the practice. It involves learning about the fire through caresses and kisses to achieve perfect lubrication before penetration. The respiratory process during supersexuality involves pronouncing vowels one by one, repeating the entire breathing process for each vowel. It's important to withdraw without spilling sexual energy to maintain creative power. 3. Psychology. The multiplicity within us. Inside each person live many personalities, making us never completely identical. Sometimes, a stingy person manifests. Other times, an irritable one. At other times, a splendid and benevolent person can appear, while in another moment, a scandalous or slandering personality can emerge. Sometimes, we may even see ourselves as saints, but then we might transform into a deceiver. Our energy is trapped in each of our defects, causing us to act like machine-like people. Simple puppets manipulated by invisible strings without real individuality, moving in different directions depending on the defects that take control of us. When we identify these defects, we can work to eliminate them. With the death of each of these selves, we regain the wisdom and love that were trapped within them. This process of inner transformation is key to achieving greater clarity, love, and understanding. Comprehending this internal multiplicity is the first step to freeing ourselves from these invisible strings and achieving true individuality and wisdom. Method for the liberation of consciousness. The method for liberating consciousness begins with constant self-observation. At every moment, we must be alert to discover the different defects that manifest in our behavior, emotions, or thoughts. The key is to identify these defects, analyze them, and understand their origin. Once we have discovered a defect, the next step is to judge it until we fully understand it. This involves examining how and why the defect appears in our actions, how it affects our relationships, and what lessons we can learn from it. Understanding a defect is not just an intellectual process, it also involves emotional and spiritual comprehension. Once we have understood the defect, the final step is to eradicate it. To do this, we make a plea to our specific Divine Mother, asking her to eliminate that defect. Through this process of plea and purification, we can gradually change our way of being, eliminating each detail that keeps our consciousness trapped. This method is known as death in motion because it involves a gradual and continuous process of defect, elimination, and consciousness liberation. As we progress on this path, we start to feel lighter and freer, leaving behind the burdens that prevented us from growing and evolving. This process requires patience and dedication. But over time, each small change brings us closer to true consciousness liberation. 4. Mysticism, love for internal and external work. Mysticism teaches us to love work, both internal and external. When a person begins to experience and verify the reality of their particular being, they are taking the first step toward the inner world. Mysticism involves loving work for its own sake, developing unselfish sacrifice for humanity, to experience love and perfect the ability to give. This love for work is fundamental for creating the higher existential bodies, as well as for defect disintegration and selfless sacrifice for humanity. However, it's one of the most challenging things to achieve due to the current state of our consciousness, often trapped in ego and defects. Developing unselfish sacrifice for humanity allows us to experience true love. When we resonate with this wonderful force of love, every cell in our body begins to undergo significant change. As we progress along the path of mysticism, we realize that love without deeds is impossible. To live love, we need to practice and apply it in concrete ways. Mysticism is, therefore, a call to action, urging us to practice unselfish sacrifice and work in both internal and external spheres. Only through practice and direct experimentation can we perfect our ability to give, turning love into action and contributing to humanity's improvement. Self-knowledge objectives. If you're looking to achieve human regeneration, consciousness liberation, and the creation of higher existential bodies, we invite you to our 75 free practical conferences. The goal of self-knowledge is to guide you towards self-realization, human regeneration, and total consciousness liberation. Through these conferences, you'll learn about creating the higher existential bodies, understanding all laws in higher dimensions, and how to incarnate your individual Christ, resurrecting within yourself and achieving sacred individuality. These free conferences focus on these 4 pillars of knowledge and are presented in a practical and accessible way, allowing anyone interested to join and benefit from these teachings. We invite you to join our virtual conferences on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.